The Supreme Court of Sri Lanka today dismissed two fundamental rights petitions that sought to invalidate the Memorandum of Understanding MoU recently signed between Sri Lanka and India. The decision was made by a two-judge bench comprising Justice Achala Wengappuli and Justice Priyantha Fernando, who determined that there was no prima facie case to proceed with the applications. The petitions challenged the legality of 7 MoUs that were exchanged between India and Sri Lanka on April 5 at the Presidential Secretariat. These agreements covered various areas of cooperation, including defense, sharing of successful digital solutions, and multi-sectoral grant assistance to the Eastern Province. The signing ceremony was attended by Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, underscoring the significance of these bilateral agreements. The dismissal of the petitions comes as a setback to those who had raised concerns about the implications of these MoUs on Sri Lanka's sovereignty and national interests. The Supreme Court's decision effectively upholds the validity of the agreements, paving the way for their implementation. During the court proceedings, President's Counsel Manohara D. Silva and Senior Counsel Canishka Witharana appeared on behalf of the petitioners, presenting arguments challenging the legality and constitutionality of the MoUs. On the other side, Deputy Solicitor General Nirmalan Wignashwaran represented the Attorney General's office, defending the government's position on the matter. The court's ruling that there was no prima facie case to proceed with the applications suggests that the judges found insufficient grounds in the petitioners' arguments to warrant a full hearing. This decision effectively closes the legal avenue for challenging these particular MoUs through the fundamental rights jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. The MoUs in question cover a wide range of areas aimed at enhancing cooperation between Sri Lanka and India. The Defense Cooperation Agreement, in particular, has drawn attention due to its potential implications for regional security dynamics. Similarly, the agreement on sharing successful digital solutions could pave the way for technological collaboration and knowledge transfer between the two nations. The MoU on multi-sectoral grant assistance to the Eastern Province is expected to bring significant development benefits to a region that has historically faced economic challenges. This agreement could potentially lead to increased Indian investment and aid in various sectors within the Eastern Province, contributing to its economic growth and infrastructure development. The Supreme Court's decision to dismiss the petitions without proceeding to a full hearing indicates that the judges did not find any immediate constitutional or legal issues with the MoUs that would warrant further scrutiny. This outcome is likely to be welcomed by both the Sri Lankan and Indian governments, as it removes a potential obstacle to the implementation of these bilateral agreements. However, the dismissal of these petitions may not entirely quell the concerns of those who oppose closer ties with India or who fear that such agreements could compromise Sri Lanka's autonomy in certain areas. It is possible that this decision could spark further public debate on the nature and extent of Sri Lanka's international agreements, particularly with its larger neighbor to the north. The exchange of these MoUs comes at a time when Sri Lanka is seeking to strengthen its international partnerships and attract foreign investment to boost its economy. The country has been grappling with economic challenges in recent years, and closer cooperation with India could potentially open up new avenues for trade, investment, and development assistance. For India, these agreements represent an opportunity to deepen its engagement with Sri Lanka, a strategically important neighbor in the Indian Ocean region. The MoUs cover areas that are of mutual interest to both countries and could lead to increased Indian influence in Sri Lanka's economic and security spheres. The Supreme Court's decision to dismiss the petitions challenging these MoUs may be seen as a reaffirmation of the executive branch's authority to enter into international agreements. It also underscores the judiciary's reluctance to interfere in matters of foreign policy and international relations unless there are clear constitutional violations. The petitioners, represented by President's Counsel Manohara D. Silva and Senior Counsel Canishka Witharana, had likely argued that the MoUs infringed upon Sri Lanka's sovereignty or were signed without proper constitutional authority. However, the court's dismissal suggests that these arguments did not meet the threshold required for a prima facie case. Deputy Solicitor General Nirmalan Wignashwaran, appearing for the Attorney General, would have presented the government's position that the MoUs were within the executive's power to negotiate and sign international agreements. The court's decision appears to have accepted this view, at least to the extent that it did not find grounds to proceed with a full hearing. The dismissal of these petitions may have implications for future challenges to international agreements signed by Sri Lanka. It could potentially set a precedent that raises the bar for those seeking to contest such agreements through the courts, particularly on constitutional grounds. As the news of the Supreme Court's decision spreads, it is likely to elicit varied reactions from different segments of Sri Lankan society. Supporters of closer ties with India may view this as a positive development that clears the way for enhanced bilateral cooperation. On the other hand, critics of the agreements may express disappointment and concern over what they perceive as a lack of judicial scrutiny of these MoUs. The government of Sri Lanka may now proceed with the implementation of these agreements, confident that they have withstood an initial legal challenge. This could lead to accelerated cooperation with India in the areas covered by the MoUs, potentially bringing tangible benefits to Sri Lanka in terms of economic development, technological advancement, and security cooperation. For India, the dismissal of these petitions removes a potential roadblock in its efforts to strengthen ties with Sri Lanka. The Indian government may view this as an opportunity to move forward with the initiatives outlined in the MoUs, further cementing its relationship with its southern neighbor. As the dust settles on this legal challenge, attention will likely turn to the practical implementation of these agreements. Observers will be keen to see how quickly the two countries can translate the MoUs into concrete actions, and what impact these will have on Sri Lanka's development trajectory and its relationship with India. The Supreme Court's decision also highlights the delicate balance between judicial oversight and executive prerogative in matters of foreign policy. While the court has chosen not to intervene in this instance, it remains an important check on government power, ensuring that international agreements do not violate constitutional principles. As Sri Lanka continues to navigate its complex geopolitical environment, the outcome of this case may be seen as a significant moment in the country's foreign policy direction. It underscores the government's commitment to strengthening international partnerships, even in the face of domestic opposition. In conclusion, the Supreme Court's dismissal of the petitions challenging the Sri Lanka-India MoUs marks a crucial juncture in the bilateral relationship between the two countries. It clears the path for increased cooperation across various sectors and may have far-reaching implications for Sri Lanka's economic and strategic positioning in the region. As the implementation of these agreements moves forward, all eyes will be on how they shape the future of Sri Lanka-India relations and their impact on the broader geopolitical landscape of South Asia.